Hey YouTube, DustWriter here, welcome to my review for the Memorial Edition Gaisoulken from Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger. This is the main weapon and changer for Gaisourg in the series, and you may also know it as Void Knight's weapon in Power Rangers Dino Fury. I feel like I just said Void Knight. Void Knight, I don't know why an accent came out there. So the Memorial Edition is effectively like a complete selection for Sentai. It's really funny to me that they've always called it the Memorial Edition because they made it sound like somebody died, but in this case, that was true. Effectively like a high-end collector's grade version that has even more sounds, tons of voices, and in the case of this being a sword, is actually more of a 1-to-1 scale than the original version was, so it's really nice. I've always been very excited for these because even though I'm kind of lukewarm on Ryusoulger as a series, I absolutely love the weapons. Gaisourg is one of my favorite characters, so I was excited by it, and now that I like Dino Fury and I really like Void Knight, it's kind of a bonus. But let's go ahead and get started with it. Let's just do some comparisons real quick to get that out of the way. You do have two keys that are included with it. You got your standard Gaisourg key here, which is the only one I have a comparison for, because the only one that there's an original version I have for. But you know, it's your standard key, and these are the same size as the original ones. They're not like a deluxe size that suddenly changes or anything like that. So they're all going to be compatible across the board. Not necessarily always sound-wise, but you can put them all in the previous devices and vice versa. And here is the original version. They look pretty identical here. Honestly, pretty much exactly identical here for this mode, and then for this mode here. Not really a whole lot of changes. Maybe this one looks a little more polished if you're really looking for it. But the main difference comes here on the back where you have an actual fully painted Void Knight Gaisourg helmet, which looks really nice. Then you have your other key here. There is no comparison for it, but I figured I'd just show both keys off at once. And here it is in its head mode. I forget what is this mode officially called? I don't even remember, but there you go. And then on the back you have a very blank looking unpainted version of like the standard helmet. I kind of wish it was more of an exciting, unique version because if you don't remember, these are compatible with the deluxe Ryusoulger mecha, so you can put it in there and it acts as the helmet. So just for comparison here, this is the Memorial Edition, and then this is the original Standard Edition. You can see the size difference there. The handle is a lot longer and much more normal feeling there, and obviously you have a much longer blade. The paint on this is honestly pretty comparable, I would say, just in terms of the details. This looks, I think, overall a little bit better. I mean, you have the silver paint here rather than the gray plastic here, and I think this overall looks more professional here. But in terms of the paint here and here, it actually looks pretty similar. And the purple is a slightly different color, but I would say that it's not like a difference where it feels like this looks like trash paint-wise. But again, the main draw here is to get an actual show-accurate looking one compared to your usual dinky Sentai weapon, which sometimes seems even small for kids. And then, just for fun, here we go. You got it next to the original Ryusoulger main 5 version, so you can see they're both in the same scale and see the differences there. But I just figured I'd show that off quick at the beginning so we don't forget. But now we can get to the actual main event. I mean, obviously you've been seeing it here the whole time, but look-wise, this thing is great. I absolutely love the more realistic scale. Again, this has always been one of my favorite Sentai weapons since it came out, and it's really nice to have that in person. I've especially always liked Void Knight / Gaisourg's version. The purple-silver color scheme really works for me, and the kind of cool, slightly different than the regular blade look really works as well. And it's just overall really nice looking. The paint looks really good, it shines nicely without looking cheap or anything like that, and it has a nice quality feel to it. Some of the Sentai toys, mainly in the deluxe line, like the standard deluxe line, have kind of felt a little cheaper than usual in recent years, but at least this one feels like of a nice quality. Not like the most super heavy, expensive quality, but it does feel of a nice quality, like a feel when you're holding it like you got your money's worth, if that makes any sense. I don't know why, but I've been drawing a lot of attention to that recently. And then the on-off switch is right here. I just want to draw attention to this because the Memorial Mobiritz put the switch underneath the battery thing, so you have to unscrew the battery thing, or rather, like unsecurity push it, the battery thing, every time you want to put the on-off switch on or off, and I found that to be really annoying. Like, I appreciate that they wanted to hide it in terms of design, but it's more annoying than anything. Anyway, point is, I appreciate the on-off switch is just normal. So you get your standard noises where it tells you what it is. As far as just your, speaking of standard noises, and that's all she does. Anyway, guys, until next time. So, in addition to those standard noises, before you put anything in, there's 2 buttons here which activate some of the more robust sounds. Now, this one here on the right is going to activate your songs. It comes with a handful of songs. I'll play a sample of each one of them. I'm not going to play all of them just to avoid any copyright things like I've gotten in the past. I'm not necessarily sure I will, but better be safe than sorry. Safety. Safety first, then teamwork. And then, go, go, Power Rangers! No, I'm just kidding. And what's nice about it is you can play it, and then do like flashing noises for kind of like role play that the song is playing while you're using the sounds, which is always kind of a cool feature of most of these Memorial Editions that are like this, or the complete selections. Now this one here, when you press this, just indicates you're at the standard mode, and now when you hold it down, it will switch to different voice modes, and that will activate a slew of different voices from just pressing the button, and it will also change the mode for post-transformation, which we'll get into later, but for now, we're just doing the plethora of voice sounds. So I might cut some of them short just for time, and if I accidentally skip over some, I'm sorry, but you know, you'll get the gist of it. There's a ton of different voice sound bites. So that's the first one there for like standard Gaisourg. To industry. Whoa, just take it easy, man. Alright, fine, don't take it easy. Next one. So much more pleasant as Nada.
こっち来たら見えたんですけどね。体ね、真っ赤っかで、身長がこれぐらいで、足が一本で、口がこう2個ついてるんで多分わかる思うんですけど。
I recognize some of those words.
ボス。親父。笑ってくれた。あんたそっちの方が似合うで。ほな。
I think my favorite part of this toy is the awkward pauses between sentences while the sword just lights up.
いや、探したで。あんたがレッドか。あんたやったんか。マスターが意志を託したんは。
Something about a taco.
残念ながら、リュウソージャーにはなられへん
Sounds
かった
good,
けどな。
actually.
なんや、ドルイドンが攻めてきとるんやろ。俺にも力にならせてくれ。俺が相手や。立ち向かわんと後悔するくらいなら、立ち向かって後悔するわい。村は出たけど、俺かってなんや。自分はリュウソージャー失格や言うたらメルトに聞いたで。お前は自分これで終わりちゃうやろ。いや、そうは言うてもリーダーのお前に何かあったらそうや。レッドはリーダーやろ。違う。誰がリーダーとか、誰が一番とか、そういうのじゃない。俺たちはみんなで一つなんだ。
That's nice there because it shows off when someone else is talking, it changes color, so you have Red's
マスター
color.
レッド。あんたは正しかったようやな。自分でも分かってると思うけど、こぞっちゅう時の攻撃に、まあ、本当はアホ。お前はレッド思考。安心
Okay,
せ。
we're gonna switch over to the other one now.
俺がちゃんとレッドを受け継いだる。
Yeah, we get Red.
不屈の騎士、ガイソーグ。背中かゆう。ほんま、自分らのおかげや。大きい。俺な、才能があるとかないとか、選ばれるや選ばれへんやとか。でもな、それを教えてくれた仲間と一緒に戦っていけるなんて。ただ、大事な人を守る。俺も行くで。流走外装。ああ、外装戦士。そっちがいいな。不屈の騎士、ガイソーグ。俺の騎士道、見せたろわいって言うてみたかったんや、これ。なあ、立ち向かわんと、俺は、竜装じゃ、何してる。俺はええからあいつはよ倒せ。俺のソウル、みんなを救え。これちゃんと取れてんのか。背中かゆう。ほんま、俺な、才能があるとかないでもな、それを教えてくれた仲間と一緒に戦っていけるなんて。ただ、大事な人を守るためには、まだまだ足らんもんがある。俺も行くで。流走
Okay, so you get the gist of it now. Now when you press the button again, it will change you back to the standard mode, so that's where we started out as. And that mode will come in handy again in just a minute, but let's go ahead and show off the standard sounds. So this is just for your standard Gaisourg Soul. You see the nice LEDs there. And if you don't remember, the beauty about Gaisourg's sword versus the standard one is you don't have to use the chomping gimmick to activate sounds. I mean, you do, obviously, but you don't have to keep pumping it. That's what a lot of swords are like that. But anyway, I really appreciate that, because I think the chomping gimmick is clever, but just in terms of using it or using it for review, it gets old, so it's nice to just have to one and done close it. Now, as mentioned, that button can change the sound mode for this. And in case you don't remember from how these work, this button here releases the key for you. So when you hold it down, change it to the first mode. Do this again. Go in your home. It's the same sounds, but you pressed the button before. Isn't that exciting? No, I'm just kidding. So when you press this now, you'll get some Gaisourg battle sounds, sort of like a roleplay extension. That was for holding it down, and there's only the one for that. Alright, I'll switch to the other one. And just of note, it will stay into that mode even after you remove the key until you change it. It's basically like pressing the button and getting the little link high-ups. Hut, hut, hut. That was a brilliant link. That just sounded like me saying hut 3 times. Alright, and lastly, alright, and now switch it back to normal mode. And now for this key, this special key activates all kinds of neat sounds. Now when you're just like this, it'll just kind of make these crystally sounding noises. And it doesn't do any henshin type jingle or attack type jingle. But when you hold this down is when you're going to start activating the voice sounds. Or when you hold it down better.
今度は迷わんで。流動チェンジ、階層チェンジ。階層チェンジ。
So you get the all 7 henshin jingle and sounds, which is really cool. And then when you press this again, you get the roll call as you slowly push each button individually. And notice it changes the LED depending on each one that's talking, which is really neat. Now it'll go back to that. And you're going to want to be patient sometimes, like especially with the roll call. I cut it off too early the first time I used it. You press it and there is a pause. There's a lot of pauses in this toy. Alright, now when you chomp this down 5 times... This is going to be a while. I'm going to get something to drink.
俺はもう一度修行に出る。先輩の威厳を守らんとな。ま、一応あいつらにも伝えとくか。けど面と向かっては言いづらいしな。せや、英語と思いついた。確かこの辺にウイちゃんのカメラがあった。
Now press it again.
これちゃんと撮れてんのか、これ。
He's still going.
どうも、毎度です。
I'm gonna go watch The
ナナで
Office.
す。まあ別に改まって言うようなことじゃないんやけど、俺、みんなの足引っ張りたないから、ちょっと修行の旅に出ようと思ってます。だからまあ、ちょっとおらんようになるけど、まあ寂しがらんといてな。な。まあ、ぶっちゃけ、ドルイドも強い。でも、みんなと一緒やったら、不思議と怖ないんや。カナラとバンバはめちゃくちゃ強いし、トアは、すばしこくて勇気もある。ベルトは、ちゃんとした作戦考えてくれるし、アスナはほら、なんてだってほら、かわいい。
I recognize those names.
コウはちょっと、向こう水なとこあるけど、その勇気がみんなの力を引き上げてる。ほんまええチームや。そんでもって俺が帰ってきたらもう最強や。ドルイドン一緒に倒してな。この星に平和が来たら、また卓球しような。遊ぼうな。いっぱいアホな話しような。挨拶はこんぐらいにして。ほなまた。
Like, there's no need for that long of a pause.
照れくさくて、まだちゃんと言えてなかったな。みんな、ありがとう。
And then, it's done. So, that has quite a lot of sounds for that. So before we get to the final verdict, I'm just going to go over some little odds and ends about compatibility. First of all, I just want to mention that took for freaking ever, and I watched an entire season of Friends in between. No, I'm just kidding. That this does not make any different sounds in any of the previous devices, including the other Memorial Edition or any of the other deluxe ones, so I'm not going to show it in there because all it's going to do is nothing, so I'm just going to mention that right now. Now, as for this, it is compatible with all the previous deluxe keys. I will do a video at some point in the future, just like I did with the original Memorial Edition, showing the functions and all the ones that I own. But for now, I'm just going to do a sampling of some of them so you get the idea that it works with the different types of keys. Like, for example, this is the red one that came with the Memorial Edition. And just to show you that there's not much variation between the standard Ryusouls, here's Ryusoul Blacks. This is from the original deluxe release. So it doesn't say like Ryusoul Black, Ryusoul Red or anything. Have an auxiliary key / armor key to show. You can see it has an orange LED for that, which is nice. Have one of the little ability keys, the armor keys, or the armor keys. And lastly for this, just the Kishiryu key. Alright, now the last thing I want to show off is just using this key in the old original version of this and the first Memorial Edition Soul. It's not the size, mate. It's how you use it. That's something else you can probably notice by me using this, though, is that the sounds are a lot more crisp on the Memorial Edition version. We're in the in-game now, I promise. Do not miss this. Alright. So we have reached the end of this long review. I appreciate those of you that watched all or most of this, or even just some of it. So, final verdict. Do I recommend this thing? Yes. Be warned, it is pricey. I mean, always with the complete selections or the Memorial Editions, they're always more expensive because they have more sounds and more quality and all that. But this in particular, because of its size, is going to incur some larger shipping charges. So just be aware of that. I think that if you really have your heart set on it and you're willing to spend the cash, I think you'll be happy with it. It's a great size. It's really nice to have the one-to-one size like the show, especially if you're a fan of the show or weapon. It has tons of sounds to give you a bang for your buck. Sometimes I feel that it just has too many sounds. Like, I really do appreciate all the sound bites and stuff, but it's not as exciting when you don't understand what's going on. It makes me wish there was just an episode of The Office in there. But honestly, even if this was for an English show or for a Power Rangers one, I personally don't know if I need that many voice sounds. I think all I really need is just the sounds that kind of enhance stuff with the roll call, or sort of the role play sounds that you would have that would have them saying phrases that would make sense in the situation. I feel like I wouldn't feel shortchanged if it just had that and it didn't have them carrying on entire conversations with itself. That's more of a personal nitpick. It's because it's not like I want to be complaining about it giving you more bang for your buck. I just feel sometimes the amount of excess is unnecessary. But I'll say, like, again, I think this thing is worth the money if you are willing to shell it out. That being said, I would maybe wait for a sale just because it can be kind of pricey with the shipping and the price of the item itself. It's kind of tricky sometimes, unfortunately, with premium items, because sometimes you might be able to wait and find a good deal. Other times, the items will become scarce and then they'll go up high in price, and you can never really tell what's going to become high in price and what's not. I, for one, didn't expect SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Guy to be a high aftermarket price. So this is kind of a weird recommendation, but I'm just trying to tell you my experience so you can sort of weigh the options. I'm just saying, my point is, I think this is a quality toy I'm very happy with. It just definitely is pricey. If you are really into it, it can be worth the price, but even for something that I feel is worth it, I still acknowledge that it is kind of pricey, even if it is nice. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for more videos like this and more. Dawson Ryder, signing out.